Hello, I'm Dave, one of the pastors here at Journey Ministries. We are on day 29 of the Red Letter Challenge. Let me read this for you. We hear a lot about food in our country. We hear a lot about obesity and how much Americans eat. In fact, in 2011, the average American ate a ton of food, 1,996 pounds to be exact. That includes more than 630 pounds of dairy, 185 pounds of meat, 197 pounds of grain, almost 700 pounds of fruits and veggies, and more than 200 pounds of sweets and fats. Most of us don't have to worry about eating. We simply have to ask, what are we going to eat today? However, there are still millions of people in our country that are without food or are in need. Yet, Americans discard 40% of the food supply every year. And the average American family of 4 ends up throwing away an equivalent of up to $2,275 in food each year. Just a 15% reduction in losses in the U.S. food supply would save enough to feed 25 million Americans annually. I can't blame everyone on this one. My family suffers from this too, and we've started to do something about it. We noticed our 2 boys barely eat half of what we give them. My wife and I began to feel bad about this and started to serve ourselves less because we realized we would get full just by eating their leftovers, and we could then throw away less food. Jesus was talking to a large group of people when he drops this bomb on them. For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me in. I needed clothes, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you looked after me. I was in prison, and you came to visit me. Then the righteous will answer him, Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you something to drink? When did we see you a stranger and invite you in, or need clothes and clothe you? When did we see you sick or in prison and go to visit you? The king will reply, Truly I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me. We've learned in this challenge that one of the ways people will see God in us is when we actually do what he says to do. Here, Jesus says that whatever we do for the least of those in the world, the least privileged, we've done it for him. He says that the people who take care of the least privileged will be the ones who are welcomed into his kingdom. This isn't a scare tactic. Jesus isn't saying, if you don't do this, then you'll burn in hell. He's simply saying the people who believe in Jesus are the people who help the least privileged. That's just what they do. The stronger a person's relationship with God, the more natural it becomes to take care of God's children in this world. My role on a board of directors for a food pantry here in Mount Dora, Florida, is a constant reminder to me that there are countless number of people who are hungry. Even in America, the land of blessing and opportunity, people are still starving. They need help. Who better to help them than the followers of Jesus? If your cupboards are full, if you don't have to worry about what you will eat or drink tomorrow because you know you will have plenty, then you can help in this cause. In the Old Testament story, Elisha helps out a widow. All she has is 1 jar of olive oil, but as we can see from this story, God can turn a little bit into a lot. 2 Kings chapter 4, verses 1 through 7. The wife of a man from a company of the prophets cried out to Elisha, Your servant, my husband, is dead, and you know that he revered the Lord, but now his creditor is coming to take my 2 boys and his slaves. Elisha replied to her, How can I help you? Tell me, what do you have in your house? Your servant has nothing there at all, she said, except for a small jar of olive oil. Elisha said, Go around and ask your neighbors for empty jars. Don't ask for just a few. Then go inside and shut the door behind you, and your sons pour oil into all the jars, and as each is filled, put it to one side. She left him and shut the door behind her and her sons. They brought the jars to her, and she kept pouring. When all the jars were full, she said to her son, Bring me another one. But he replied, There is not a jar left. Then the oil stopped flowing. She went and told the man of God, and he said, "Go, sell the oil and pay your debts. You and your sons can live on what is left." Wow. This was day 29 in the Red Letter Challenge.